Welcome to a very special edition of The Foolishness Files. I'm Toby Blackwell, your host for this look at the news and nonsense we love about pop culture, entertainment, and the world around us. 2013 has just ended, so it's time to look back. We're opening the What Happened Was file and looking at an issue that affected so many different areas of pop culture and entertainment. This is a very special racism report. In terms of the racial dialogue in our country in 2013, so many ups and downs. We began the year kind of on a high note. The movie Django Unchained was Quentin Tarantino's look at slavery. It was actually very well received, earning Oscars, Golden Globes, and other awards. It did, however, meet with some criticism, mainly from director Spike Lee, who found it very offensive and said slavery is not a joke. Not for nothing, Spike Lee, also not a joke? Blackface. But you didn't seem to mind making a whole comedy out of it a couple years ago. Bamboozled, anyone? Later in January, President Obama, who's half white and half black, was sworn in for his second term as our president. And things were going well. Going so well, in fact, that Brad Paisley and LL Cool J decided to jump into the mix with their song, Accidental Racist. This song was a song that Brad Paisley wrote to explain his position, and LL Cool J decided, yeah, I'll jump in on that. I'll rap, and what I'll do is I'll equate chains of slavery with golden chains, and I'll equate your Confederate flag with my do-rag, and I will just be awful. It just did not work. It caused a lot of issues. And mainly people were like, really, LL? Really, twice in the winter? You're going to ruin something? Because I'm still mad about that Grammy hosting job. I mean, oh yeah, and the song. 2013 is a year Paula Deen is glad is over. In June of 2013. She was accused by a former employee, who was a white woman, of having a company that had racial discrimination, sexual harassment, all sorts of things you don't want. It was revealed that in the past, at some point, Paula Deen used the N-word with her family and friends regularly. Also, she wanted something like a plantation-style wedding, which included middle-aged black men with white dinner jackets. She did not deny these things. She actually, in her depositions and on the Today Show when she finally appeared, said, I is what I is, and tearfully, begged forgiveness. The companies that were affiliated with her mostly dropped their endorsement deals with her and distanced themselves very quickly. So to many, she was punished for using the N-word many, many years ago. But it's deeper than that. Although the lawsuit was dismissed because you can't file a lawsuit for discrimination unless you are in the party or the group that is being discriminated against, so this white woman couldn't file this lawsuit, it was not dismissed for lack of evidence, and like I said, she admitted doing these things. So there really, at least probably was some shred of truth about this corporate environment. And I think that means we should investigate why Paula Deen's recipes, which are so unhealthy, lead to so much type 2 diabetes, one of the leading killers of African Americans. Coincidence? I think not. Now you're cooking with gas. In July, with the Paula Deen imbroglio still very active in the news cycle, the post-mortem stories of two different unarmed black men who were killed by armed people of authority a few years ago came to an interesting karmic intersection. The first was in the movie Fruitvale Station, which is a fictionalized sort of look at the last 24 hours in the life of Oscar Grant, a black man who was killed a few years ago in Fruitvale, Oakland's BART station when he was face on the ground, unarmed by a white police officer. It was captured on video back then, it went viral, and finally it was made into a movie, which is considered by many, many critics to be one of the top 5 movies of the year. And interestingly enough, ushered in sort of a little renaissance of really good black-themed movies this year. So while that was happening and people were getting to see this story over and over again, we also were getting the verdict in the George Zimmerman trial. George Zimmerman is the killer of Trayvon Martin, who was the unarmed black man who Zimmerman, as a neighborhood watch person, sort of tracked through his complex while the police told him not to, and then got into a scuffle and killed. George Zimmerman was acquitted of this crime. These two stories coming together in the same week really fueled a huge discussion in this country about race and racial profiling and the role of the authorities. It was a conversation that continued even into the election cycle and was one of the main points that New York's new mayor has vowed to end, New York's Stop and Frisk program. So it was an example of life leading to more life, leading to some art, and affecting real life again. And speaking of reality, normally when you want to escape from reality, you watch something fun like Big Brother. Well, this season, Big Brother had to run a disclaimer, like I did at the top of this episode of Foolishness Files. They've never done that in 15 years. This disclaimer really separated CBS from the views and opinions expressed by people in the House. Because early on in the season, during the not primetime stuff, the after-hours feeds, some of the House guests were saying incendiary, racist, and homophobic things. And more than one of them. CBS didn't air them all and was taken to task for that. But what they really were taken to task for is that when the main perpetrator, Erin, blonde girl from Texas, left the house, Julie Chen was sort of, telling her, you're going to watch that, you're going to find some things out. Then at the very final show, it was like, it was brushed over. It was the most important thing, pretty much, that's happened on Big Brother ever, and it was brushed over. So, not good, CBS, not good. CBS, however, did win because for the first time ever in its 15-year history, Big Brother was relevant. As Scandal's Olivia Pope, Kerry Washington fixes things. And in the fall, it seemed like, I don't know, maybe she was going to fix a bunch of racial problems going on in entertainment. First, she was nominated for the Emmy for Best Actress in a Drama Series. She was the first black actress nominated for drama acting since Cicely Tyson, who just won a Tony Award, back in 1995. And in fact, Kerry Washington is the first African-American woman to headline or to star in a drama on TV since 1974. And unfortunately, Kerry Washington didn't win. A few months later, Kerry Washington hosted Saturday Night Live. In her opening sketch, she played Michelle Obama, but then had to go and play Oprah Winfrey. And then had to go and play Beyonce. As the sketch was highlighting the fact that there are no female black cast members on SNL. In fact, there have only been 4 ever. Kerry Washington is in fact only the 9th black woman to ever host Saturday Night Live in its whole long history. And that includes 2 turns by Queen Latifah, one by Maya Rudolph, who used to be on the show, and another by Rosie Perez, who... Is that black? I don't know. No, if Kerry Washington was looking for someone, she probably could have just gone back a couple days and gone back to Halloween, where Julianne Hough, the blonde-haired Dancing with the Stars champ, decided to go dressed as one of the characters from the critically acclaimed Orange is the New Black. Orange is the New Black features many multi-ethnic, different aged women who are doing a great job. Julianne Hough decided to portray Crazy Eyes, who is black, and she wore blackface. Yeah, it turns out Footloose isn't the worst thing Julianne Hough has done. As we ended 2013, as much like we began it, a movie about slavery was really the buzz. 12 Years a Slave is actually probably the Oscar frontrunner right now, and it is considered to be the most harrowing and realistic look at slavery in America. But, however, for every Lee Daniels the Butler and Fruitvale Station and 12 Years a Slave, there's a Medea Christmas. So, Tyler Perry, he was bringing it down. Really. We also ended the year with a story that dealt with racial issues again. This time from the patriarch of the clan from Duck Dynasty. Those rednecks that live in the Louisiana Bayou, but who are super millionaires because they make the duck calls. He was on a radio show basically saying bad things about gays, and also that the black people he worked with didn't mind being subjugated, and that they were fine with it. This led to, of course, an uproar and his suspension from the A&E series, but at year's end, A&E said that they would have him back. So, at the end of the year, where are we? It turns out, not really sure. Maybe the same place we were at the beginning of the year. It seems like we take some steps forward, we take some steps back. We take some steps that we don't even know if they're moving ahead or back. Now we're doing the electric slide. There are victories and there are defeats. There are going to be new black female cast member on SNL supposedly coming up soon. but the dad is still on Duck Dynasty on A&E. We saw actual life, we saw reality television, we saw scripted fare, all just helping to keep that dialogue open. It's important that dialogue stays open until we have achieved the goals that we need to achieve. What else is going to stay open, unfortunately, is this file. I hope that 2013 was good to you, and that 2014 is full of even more success and foolishness. For the Foolishness Files, I am Toby Blackwell. Just asking the question, can't we all just get along?
The Foolishness Files.